Good afternoon, guys. What is going on? We are just getting today started. We are taking a break from the drag truck, the framework, and we are going to turn the fuel up the rest of the way on the first gen. So I believe our buddy Tom is already here, who helped us last time. We are going to turn it up all the way, change out our spring here to a better spring. I'll let him explain some of this stuff because, you know, your boy Greg just doesn't know all that stuff about the VE stuff. So that's the plan. We got to move the truck around. We got to move a couple things around, get it situated, get the lights probably set up because it's going to be dark soon again, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's fire this Larry up. Don't mind all the mess from the wiring that still isn't done. All right, here we go. Here we go. Alright, so here we are. So the pump is halfway turned up, right? Mm-hmm. I forget, like last time, I'm trying to remember, seeing that I don't remember, I guess. The pump is turned halfway up, mm-hmm. and we're at the point now where the throttle shaft has to be re-indexed because why?
If we turn up the fuel screw anymore, our idle's going to be way too high.
Oh, because we literally can't back the idle down anymore.
Right.
Oh, okay, so that's
So we got to re-index the throttle shaft, but you said you had a higher gov spring.
Right, yep, I told him that we were going to do the higher governor spring at the same time.
Which is easier because to do the governor spring, you have to take the throttle shaft off anyways.
Right.
So you might as well.
So it's just a couple more bolts to go that far to take. Yeah. So not only do we have to take the top hat off, we got to take the whole, basically bottom plate off. Mm-hmm. Bottom top plate, I guess you would say. But all this stuff has to come off anyway to re-index the throttle, exactly. Right? So when you say re-index the throttle, you're talking about these linkages. I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. You got to undo this, and then there's like little lines where it lines up here.
There's a spline on the actual shaft that, I guess you would call it, it sits in the teeth here.
Right.
The bottom half.
You just move it one.
Yeah, you just move it one tooth.
Okay, gotcha.
And the way I do it is you can actually feel the governor spring on the throttle shaft. Mm-hmm. So I'll just turn the throttle shaft until I feel that spring, and then I'll sit it back down.
Does that make it kind of touchy?
As far as throttle wise?
Yeah.
With this other governor spring, it's gonna too.
Right, that's what I heard. I heard people say, so we're changing from a 32, what did you say, it was a 38?
38, yeah.
People said it's touchy, right?
Yeah, it's touchy.
Okay.
But it's very manageable.
You just learn to drive it that way.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Well, all right. Well, where are we getting started? We're getting started basically just disassembling these top bolts, the boost reference, mm-hmm. up here, the linkages, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to have to take off your feed line. It might be covering. Yeah, I think you're going to have to take off the feed line.
Yeah. Last time I think I did this, I think I had to unadvance the timing to get to those back bolts. Because it's so...
Do you have ball head Allen keys?
Yes, but I still think it wasn't that easy. I guess we'll find out when we get there, but... Yeah. Alright, here we go, guys. Alrighty, so it's kind of hard to tell. You can see we've got our little top hat thing off. We've taken all the extra little stuff around, and we got our... what was that, throttle lever?
Yeah, throttle linkage,
whatever you want to call it. You can kind of see when we talk about indexing your throttle, this is the shaft. You can kind of see it's got a little notch actually in the head of the shaft, and then there's like little cut marks. It won't focus any zoomed in more, but yeah, that made sense. But you can see we're lined up. I think the second notch down is what most trucks are set from the factory, I believe, is what I was reading, but that's kind of where we're at now. So when we talk about re-indexing your throttle shaft, we're basically just moving this on a different line here. Mm-hmm. So that's a little brief explanation for you. All right, so next up we got our 4 bolts here. One little Allen socket here. There's one here, and then there's one here, and then there's one all the way buried back here that we don't know if we're gonna be able to get. I might have to loosen my timing up. You can see how far my top of my pump head is to the head. That usually is where the access is for that bolt. Alrighty, so here is the inside of the pump. You can see we have the whole top hat assembly off. Basically your fuel pin rides right here, right on this.
Not your fuel pin,
I'm sorry, like the screw?
Yeah, your fuel screw rides on this lever here.
Yep.
Go,
this go.
Wah, wah, yep. Wah. And then over here you got a notch with a hole at the bottom. That's where the top hat and the stud and spring go for your governor spring, which you're probably not going to be able to see at all.
No. No, so your governor spring attaches to this and connects to the other piece, and this is where the fuel screw kind of rests right there.
Yeah.
So here's what we're dealing with right now. We had to unadvance my pump, unadvance the timing, which took a lot. Here is the other side of the pump, how you would see it. Kind of like so, just like that. That's the fuel screw. And your governor spring, that's a bolt. Your governor spring attaches to that little piece right there and then goes to the other part on your pump. So here is the governor springs. Here's your stock one, here's your 32, and then this is how the 38 comes. You can see it's kind of long, so what we got to do is cut that to the same length as the coils on these. What it's doing is this has more tension and it runs a thicker coil. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut that, re-loop it, reattach it, put it back on there, and then turn it back up. And then turn it back up with the throttle re-index. So not too bad if I don't say so myself. It's actually very hard to bend that very nicely. But got them the same length. Here's a 32 and it's rolling away on us. But cut the same length, we're gonna put it back in. This is basically going to attach to this little piece right here, and then we can basically put the top of the pump back on the truck. Greg, thank you. And then we got to back out our fuel screw.
Yeah, definitely.
Back out the fuel screw because we don't want to start this thing up and have it run away. But we're gonna have a piece of wood ready just in case anyway.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. I'm saying here we go, guys, a lot, but anyway, here we go. Alrighty, got the top of the pump back assembled. Going to put our throttle. What do we keep calling? I keep forgetting. Linkage lever, whatever the hell this is. So this piece, as you can see, we got a little line marked on here, right there, a little Sharpie mark. That is actually hitting my feed line right here if we go any further with the pump. So we're just going to trim that quick, trim some stuff on the idle to get that down lower. And then we're going to start reassembly here in a brief second. Already got her all back together, all buttoned up. Got the fuel pretty much turned out all of the way just to a starting point. Everything's back on, indexed. I'm going to start it up here. Tom's grabbing the piece of wood in case we got to shut her down over there. And we'll start going back and forth with the fuel screw and the idle, turning her back up.
Yeah, give us another shot. Turn up more. Turn it up until she starts, pretty much.
Number 6.
Is it number 6 or number 7?
I don't know. What was it? 6 or 7.
Not happy.
Did this... Oh, wow.
That idle shouldn't be too high, but just because it was like blah, 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 I wanted to...
Well, you think it's still okay? You want to try it again?
Yeah, she's up there. So now we re-index the throttle back one, because you know how we're in the middle? We're going to go back one, and then we're going to turn her up some more.
So it might have to go back to the one we're at now, but we're going to go back?
No, we're at 3 right now.
Yeah.
We're going to go to 2.
That's where we were before.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's going to lower your idle, farther away from runaway, add more fuel for more power.
Okay.
Raise the idle more, maybe have to go to notch number 1.
Oh, so 3 is actually at back?
Yeah, 3 is more throttle at idle than original. But we put it at 3 because we backed out the fuel screw all the way when we did that fuel screw, like others did.
Okay.
So now we're at 3. Idle's too high. Move down to 2.
So if we were to go more the last time around, it would have went to 1. Indexing the throttle last time?
Yeah, we would have went to 1 without changing that governor.
So 3 was actually less than what we were at last time.
Right.
Oh, okay. Oh, because we started over?
Our fuel screw is backed out farther than where it was before.
Oh, okay.
And being that we're at 3 and it's starting to get a little sketchy, that means we're getting more fuel because of that governor.
Tom is the expert. I don't know anything. I'm just... Tom's
Greg knows new Cummins. Tom knows old Cummins. I think I hit my nut jump off that thing last time. I'm like, damn, that shit hurts.
Alright guys, we got the throttle re-indexed 1 notch, and now we are going to restart. Alright guys, we are pretty much done with the turn up. You guys might or may have not heard, we were pretty much holding it at like say quarter throttle, and it started, you know, with no load on the engine, started to definitely raise up. So that's the kind of point where Tom suggests no more. So
no more fuel.
No more fuel. We don't want it to run away. So that's a good test. You know, with no load on it, you know, seeing if it raises up by itself. So that's the point where you don't want any further. So what we're going to do now is just make sure that we are getting full pedal travel. We did cut some stuff down here, like I mentioned before. We might move the ball socket to here, give it a little bit more travel. I'll go in there, put my foot on the pedal, and basically hold it all the way out, kind of like so. Move the linkage, make sure the pedal's all the way, and then make sure it's pulling this all the way. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'll show you what the linkages look like when we're done. Alrighty, and there is the final throttle linkage configuration. Like I said, move the ball socket up to here. It would have just been too long of a lengthen to get to this point. That's really the main reason, right, Tom? Why we, you know, kind of changed that, just because the threads on this bar don't go much further. So to span that to here just would have been out of thread. So did that. We're indexed. We're back on number 2 slot. Turned all the way up, and we're ready to go. Unfortunately, the interior and the steering column is still apart for the dash gauge install, but it's getting late. I think it's actually, it might be starting to snow. It's kind of, oh, there's the moon. I don't know. We keep seeing stuff coming down. It's not rain, so who knows what it's doing out, but we're good. We're solid. First gen is ready to roll. How much power do you think this thing's gonna make? Like whopping 400?
With this turbo,
not even?
I don't know. Put it this way.
I think it's over 350?
With no fuel system and no intercooler, and with a shitty tune on my truck when I was first tuning it,
yeah,
I made 400 to the wheels with 800 foot-pounds of torque.
On a dyno?
On a dyno at Diesel Nationals.
Oh, Diesel Nationals dyno? Huh.
So now with a fuel system, I got an intercooler that I'm putting in it, and it's definitely tuned a lot better.
Yeah.
It's probably closer to 500.
Sweet.
So I don't know about this turbo. This turbo's a whack.
Yeah, that thing's kind of funky. That's a wonky setup, but all right, cool. That's awesome, man. Tom's the man. Bye, Tom. Bye, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Alrighty, guys. The first gen is turned up ready to just rip. It started raining, started actually downpouring here a little while ago. Me and Tom quick cleaned up everything. Everything from yesterday was still tool-wise was out, so got everything kind of cleaned up a little bit, shoved everything inside here, and the temperature is actually dropping quite drastically here. So we did actually get a couple new parts for the drag truck that we're going to be needing coming up here pretty soon for the chassis work. So parts are going to start rolling in for the drag truck project. So I'm going to show you guys those. I got one thing that didn't come in a box, and then the other thing will open in the box. First thing is our new seat. This is a Kirkley. Basically, it's called a Pro Street seat. Looks nice and comfortable. A lot of padding. Definitely going to be almost like a recliner type style seat, but looks comfy, looks good. It's safe is what matters, and that's what we need. So the other thing is in this box. Alrighty, here is the second piece to that. I'm sure some of you guys already know. Basically, this is just a cover. It does actually have some padding behind here and down below, so it's not as comfortable. You didn't really think I was going to sit on this bare hunk of aluminum here. But basically, this snaps around the side. Really nice. Actually, for a racing seat, I didn't think it was all that bad of a price. So racing seat is good. Obviously we are going to need that. That's going to tie into the cage and it's going to need to get situated when we go get the cage work done, which is coming up soon. So got that crossed off the list. Going to have a couple other things that we're going to need to tie in at the same time doing all the cage stuff. So that's going to be what's going to be coming next for the drag trucks. But that is probably where we're going to stop tonight. We got some other stuff we're going to do inside. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button before you leave. Subscribe if you have not already. I'll see you guys tomorrow.